I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Panic has erupted inside Diddy's camp, and the tension is palpable. After years of moving through life untouched, untouchable, and seemingly unbothered, the walls are finally closing in. But rather than confronting the storm head-on, Diddy's legal team is making a desperate move, petitioning the judge to seal key evidence from public access. Why now? According to court filings, his attorneys claim the documents contain highly sensitive material. But insiders suggest there's far more to the story. They allege the sealed files include explicit testimony, disturbing video evidence, and damning statements. Content so damaging that, if exposed, it could destroy Diddy's career for good. Even more shocking, sources say Usher's name appears throughout the material.
But being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, and I'm telling him, look, you're going to put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there. You got Craig Mack in there. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? We would fight.
Multiple sources close to the case believe Diddy's legal team is racing to suppress Usher's recent testimony. Statements that may finally confirm the long-standing rumors surrounding Usher's time under Diddy's mentorship. And let's be clear, if the whispers echoing behind courtroom doors ever make it into the public eye, it won't just be Diddy facing fallout. The entire industry could be shaken. Now the real question is, what exactly is Diddy so desperate to keep hidden? Because the harder he works to bury the truth, the more intrigued the public becomes. And if the judge denies his request to seal the evidence, we could be just days away from a revelation that changes everything.
With Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
Filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Usher has always been known for keeping a clean image, polished, professional, and quiet. But that silence came to an end when subpoenas started flying and lawsuits began stacking up. According to multiple sources, Usher recently gave court testimony that confirmed long-rumored suspicions about his early years under Diddy's mentorship. And it's shaking everything we thought we knew. Allegedly, he revealed unsettling truths about the time he spent living with Diddy as a teenager during the now infamous Flavor Camp years. A resurfaced clip from years ago even shows Usher joking that he was exposed to things no child should ever see. At the time, people laughed it off. Now, no one's laughing.
It's nothing like fellowshipping, you know? So we see each other around, but we don't get it. Usher, how you been, man? I haven't seen you so long.
How much did we drink?
You trying to say something, Usher?
I'm trying to say something.
What do you want to say?
I don't know if I should, but I'm trying.
Well, we drank a little bit. You drank a lot.
You drank one Caipero.
Let me say fired up.
Yeah.
Fired up. Your forehead is sweating from Uncle Leroy.
It's hot as hell.
It ain't that hot.
Much more.
The idea that Usher was placed in a so-called mentorship program as a child, only to allegedly witness adult behavior, questionable house guests, and late-night activities, is now being viewed with a new level of seriousness. In court, Usher reportedly didn't hold back. While the exact contents of his testimony haven't been made public, the fact that Diddy is fighting to keep them sealed speaks volumes. Lawyers are calling the material potentially devastating. Bloggers are calling it confirmation. And for Usher, this may be the moment he finally breaks free from decades of silence. One thing is certain. If Usher's words ever come to light, they won't just rewrite his origin story. They could expose Diddy's
like fellowshipping, you know? We see each other around, but we don't get it. Usher, how you been, man? I haven't seen you so long.
How much did we drink?
You trying to say something, Usher?
I'm trying to say something.
What do you want to say?
I don't know if I should, but I'm trying.
Well, we drank a little bit. You drank a lot.
You drank one Kuiper Ocean.
Let me say it fired up.
Yeah.
You went your throat like fired up.
Your forehead is sweating from Uncle Leroy.
It's hot as hell.
It ain't that hot.
What's more?
Justin Bieber's 48 Hours with Diddy. What did it really mean? That once overlooked clip is now being rewatched through an entirely different lens. In it, Diddy stands beside a 15-year-old Bieber, proudly declaring, "He's with me for 48 hours." What was once dismissed as eccentric mentor behavior is now being re-examined as something far more disturbing. At the time, fans found it odd but ultimately harmless, a powerful music mogul guiding a rising star. But in light of recent court cases detailing Diddy's alleged pattern of grooming and exploitation, that 48-hour comment feels deeply unsettling. Now, people are asking the hard questions. What really happened during those 2 days? And why was Diddy so publicly possessive? Of a teenage boy?
Usher, Justin Bieber, Diddy. This is how they all connect. When Usher was super young, he got signed to a guy named L.A. Reid, this famous music executive. Usher then loses his voice. L.A. Reid wants to help him, get back on track, so he sends him over to this guy named Puff Daddy. And as you can imagine, Usher had a problem. He just didn't know it yet. See, Puff Daddy was this up-and-coming music executive who could really turn someone into a star. He put them through this thing called Flavor Camp. And during Usher's term in this Flavor Camp, he lived with Puff. And in Usher's words, he would see questionable things. He said at any given time, you can open the door and see a bunch of random people playing Netflix. He said he would be up all night partying when all he really wanted to do was go to the studio. And this is when people speculate that Diddy did something to Usher. Now, I need you to listen to me. I'm going to give you the evidence as to why people believe this. But until you hear words from Usher, Diddy, Justin Bieber, nobody knows anything. All right, so Diddy and Usher are in an interview with Kevin Hart. Diddy said, "Hey, yo, pause. When Usher used to live with me, we used to wrestle for frost."
This report suggests that Diddy had full control over Justin Bieber during that now infamous weekend. No managers, no parents, just the two of them. While no formal accusations have been made, Bieber's silence has been striking. He hasn't addressed any of the recent lawsuits, nor has he made a single public comment about Diddy. Even more telling, fans have noticed he quietly deleted old tweets and wiped social media posts connected to Diddy. Adding to the speculation, Bieber's behavior has noticeably shifted over the years. He's spoken openly about trauma, trust issues, and dark chapters from his early fame, but he's never named names. Now, many are beginning to wonder if he's been protecting himself from a past he's tried to forget. If that 48-hour interaction ever comes up in court, and especially if Usher's testimony connects to it, Diddy's entire narrative could collapse.
The first time you met Justin Bieber, this kid comes up to you. He's not Justin Bieber yet. He's just some kid. And he says, "I want to sing for you."
It was at the studio of Jermaine Dupri's. I said, why don't you set up a meeting between me and your manager? I'd love to meet with you and do this in a formal setting. I'm late for an appointment with Jermaine Dupri,
right? And
I don't want to keep him waiting. Let's just do this the right way.
And then you have him come to audition for you, right?
Actually, there were a few people. My wife at the time.
Right.
It also was Perry Reid, L.A. Reid's first wife.
So you were all sitting in a room somewhere.
We were in a room.
Yeah.
And I showed her the video. And Perry says, "Are you crazy? You better get down there and meet this kid right now. He's amazing."
When all these dick pics come out and all this stuff with Bieber's big penis, are you the mastermind behind that? Say, "Listen, show off your big penis when people come to those concerts," or are you sitting there?
Is that the kind of manager he's doing?
Usher, are you sitting down with him and saying, "Yeah, show your cock," or leave it in your pants? I mean, do you sit him down and say, "Look, part of this is PR"?
Hey,
man.
by the way, he does have a brain of his own.
Yeah, but were you shocked at the size of his penis?
Hey, listen, he has a mind of his own. What he chose to do with his penis is his prerogative. He's managing that aspect of his life.
But Usher is somebody.
I have nothing to do with Justin Bieber's private parts, man. Come on.
When Jaguar Wright speaks, people pay attention, even if they're hesitant to believe her. The outspoken whistleblower has spent years calling out alleged predators in the entertainment industry, And now she's back with new claims that tie Usher, Justin Bieber, and Diddy into a chilling narrative. According to Jaguar, Usher, still mentally recovering from his own time under Diddy's influence, allegedly handed Justin over for a trial grooming period. She claims that after a previous hospitalization, Bieber was brought into Diddy's world as part of what she described as testing the waters. Whether it happened under pressure or contractual obligation, the idea that it was intentional is deeply disturbing. But Jaguar didn't stop there. She went even further, alleging that Diddy has been selling explicit tapes on the dark web, footage featuring young celebrities and industry power players caught in compromising situations. According to her, this is how Diddy maintains control, not just with wealth or status, but through blackmail.
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that. And they may be doing something. They may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking and we was around some people, something like that. And then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when somebody say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas. Man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. So I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened. And that's just, that's something that you heard. You don't know if it's true, you just heard it. So, and just to hear this, and this new thing where they saying that they got kids coming forward and said that he did that, man, that shit is crazy. And like I just said, that's just something that I heard. It's something that I didn't know. It's something that I ain't see. A lot of people want to, because Gene Deal has spoken on certain things that I've heard, I have spoken on it. But then they were just trying to say, I know. No, I'm not scared to say what I heard. And if there's any truth to it, then it's truth to it. Let them find it. Things that I've saw or things that I've witnessed and been a part of, I've said.
Jaguar claims that these tapes are Diddy's insurance policy, and that both Usher and Bieber could be tied to what's been recorded over the years. The implication is clear. What's happening in court right now is just the tip of the iceberg. Jaguar has never been one to back down, and if even half of her allegations are true, it means we're confronting a level of abuse and manipulation within the music industry that's never been exposed until now. As for Flavor Camp, the so-called mentorship retreat that was once touted as a place where young talent like Usher could train, connect, and grow under Diddy's guidance, the narrative is crumbling. More and more insiders are coming forward, revealing that Flavor Camp was never about music. It was about control. Late-night hangouts, the absence of parents, and blurred boundaries became the norm. Usher was allegedly just a young teen when he was invited to live there full-time, and he's since described it as wild and unstructured. At the time, fans thought he was simply being nostalgic. Now, it feels like a warning.
And God gave her back to me in 2005. I put her name on the back, man. You understand me. That's mine right there. Yeah, I own you and you own me. I will kill everybody in here about your ass. Please understand that about the way I love you, Marjorie Elaine.
And I have the key to women keeping their heart attached. I was a womanizer, now I'm a woman advisor.
Sources indicate that Diddy intentionally kept the environment at Flavor Camp free of supervision, encouraged adult themes, and treated the space more like a party house than a legitimate training ground. The notion of young, impressionable boys being placed in that environment under the guise of industry mentorship now seems like the textbook definition of grooming. If the federal investigation confirms these claims, And if Flavor Camp was part of a larger pattern of abuse, it could serve as ground zero for everything related to Diddy's empire. Usher's origin story and the disturbing culture that allowed these actions to go unchecked for decades. What was once supposed to be a platform for launching stars now looks more like a factory of secrets. And for Diddy, the truth about what happened behind those walls might be the most dangerous revelation yet. The silence surrounding Diddy is finally breaking. Old friends are speaking out, and figures like Suge Knight, Gan Deal, and Freddie P have come forward with disturbing accounts that align with everything now being revealed in court. Only now, the world is finally listening. Suge Knight, from behind bars, didn't hold back. He called out Diddy for allegedly grooming both Usher and Justin Bieber, claiming that Diddy used his power to control young people, not just in terms of their music, but in their personal lives. According to Suga, it was never about the music. It was about domination.
Diddy, I love this story. I love this story too. So Diddy, there have been all these stories, especially online, that Diddy is dating Steve Harvey's 22-year-old daughter. Her name is Lori.
Yeah, they've been spotted out together a couple times since March, really.
Not just spot. I mean, they were at a reggae festival in Miami. They were at Nobu in Malibu last week. So then, these pictures, one of the photo agencies got him strolling out. This is last night, about right before midnight in Soho, in New York. And the thing is, they're wearing matching outfits.
Right, which is a very coupley thing to do.
It's a coupley thing to do when you've been together too long.
Right, right.
All right?
But here's
it happens.
Is it matching? It's totally matching.
Kinda, they're both
No, go back to the
blue.
picture. Look at that.
It's kind of matching, kind of not.
It's not the exact same
Diddy's
pattern.
not going to wear a halter top, okay?
No, I'm talking about the pants with different colors, though.
Oh, come on.
Okay, but here's the problem, right?
Hey, Raquel, seriously. If Mel wore the same vertical stripe blue, would you go out with him out the door?
Sure.
Then there's Gene Deal, Diddy's former head of security, who dropped a bombshell in a recent interview. He revealed that Usher ended up in the hospital after his time at Flavor Camp, and he didn't hesitate to claim that Diddy broke him. It's the kind of statement that had been circulating in whispers for years, but now it's being said aloud and on camera. Freddie P from Making the Band didn't hold back either. He openly questioned Diddy's obsession with Al B. Sure's son, Quincy, calling it weird, grooming, and flat-out disturbing. For years, these kinds of stories were dismissed as the bitter rants of former employees. But now, with lawsuits and testimony piling up, they're starting to sound more like the voices of truth. As the case continues to unfold, the voices from the past are beginning to look like the real whistleblowers, the ones who tried to warn us all along. And they're not done talking.
Sean Diddy Combs has now been behind bars for 1 week after he was indicted by a federal grand jury on some pretty serious charges. And with this major development in the case comes a renewed interest in the many allegations against the now disgraced rapper. So let's start with the federal indictment that lists nearly 20 allegations against Diddy in support of the charges he faces: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. From the jump on page 1, prosecutors come out swinging, alleging Diddy is guilty of sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment goes on to allege Diddy showed a pattern of abuse, mostly against women, that included verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, including the use of extensive grooming tactics.
This isn't just a scandal. It's rapidly becoming one of the biggest legal storms in entertainment history. Over 55 lawsuits are now linked to Diddy, and they're not just rehashing old rumors. These are fresh, explosive claims that span everything from drugging and trafficking to underage abuse and coercion. Allegations so severe that, if proven true, could result in life-changing sentences. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere is tense. Survivors are being told they must go public with their testimonies or risk being dismissed. Judges are tightening the rules. No anonymous testimonies, no sealed statements unless absolutely necessary. This kind of pressure is terrifying for those who've been silenced for decades. But it's also exposing who's willing to speak out and who's too afraid to. Even Usher with all his so.
It goes on. If you open my door, expect to be removed. My security team will stop everyone from standing at my door who have the intent to see or speak to me. Steve told me he sent the memo because some staffers were taking advantage of his open door policy.
I'm in the hallway. I'm getting ambushed by people with friends that come to the show and having me sign this and do this. I just said, wait a minute.
So who leaked the memo? Well, Steve has some suspicions.
You know, it's the end of the season. Everybody knows the show is moving to Los Angeles. A couple of people are not happy with that. They're disgruntled. So why would you wait until the end of the season to report something that I gave you back in August? And we're just simply asking everybody to honor and respect that. Look, man, anybody, if you come out your house, you don't want nobody on your porch waiting on you. You walk to your car, you don't want people bothering you on the way to the car. Everybody wants the freedom to be able to move around. I just didn't want to be in this prison anymore where I had to stay in this one little room, scared to go out and take a breath of fresh air without somebody approaching me. So I wrote the letter, man. I don't apologize about the letter, but it's kind of crazy the way people took this thing and ran, man. I appreciate your hat.